Hello again. One of my close friends out of the Houston area sent me a rather interesting little article. The title is What Really Died at Auschwitz. It starts off, here's an interesting viewpoint. The following is a copy of an article written by Spanish writer Sebastián Villar Rodriguez and published in a Spanish newspaper on January the 15th, 2011. It doesn't take much imagination to extrapolate the message to the rest of the world, and possibly to Europe as well. This was, in a Spanish newspaper, European Life Died in Auschwitz, by Sebastián Villar Rodriguez. Quote, I walked down the street in Barcelona and suddenly discovered a terrible truth. Europe died in Auschwitz. We killed 6 million Jews and replaced them with 20 million Muslims. In Auschwitz, we burned a culture, thought, creativity, talent. We destroyed the chosen people, truly chosen because they produced great and wonderful people who changed the world. The contribution of this people is felt in all areas of life: science, art, international trade, and above all, as the conscience of the world. These are the people we burned. And under the pretense of tolerance, and because we wanted to prove to ourselves that we were cured of the disease of racism, we opened our gates to 20 million Muslims. We brought us stupidity and ignorance, religious extremism, and lack of tolerance, crime and poverty due to unwillingness to work and support their families with pride. They have blown up our trains and turned our beautiful Spanish cities into the third world, drowning in filth and crime. Shut up in the apartments they receive free from the government, they plan the murder and destruction of their native hosts. And thus in our misery, we have exchanged culture for fanatical hatred, creative skill for destructive skill, intelligence for backwardness and superstition. We have exchanged the pursuit of peace of the Jews of Europe and their talent for a better future for their children. Their determined clinging to life because life is holy for those who pursue death, for people consumed by the desire for death for themselves and others, for our children and theirs. What a terrible mistake was made by miserable Europe. A lot of Americans have become so insulated from reality that they imagine America can suffer defeat without any inconvenience to themselves. Recently, the UK debated whether to remove the Holocaust from its school curriculum because it offends the Muslim population, which claims it never occurred. It is not removed as yet. However, this is a frightening portent of the fear that is gripping the world and how easily each country is giving into it. It is now more than 60 years after the Second World War in Europe ended. This email is being sent as a memorial chain in memory of the 6 million Jews, 20 million Russians, 10 million Christians, and 1,900 Catholic priests who were murdered, raped, burned, starved, beaten, experimented on, and humiliated. Now more than ever, with Iran, among others, claiming the Holocaust to be a myth, it is imperative to make sure the world never forgets. This email, intended to reach 400 million people, be a link in a memorial chain and help distribute this around the world. How many years will it be before the attack on the World Trade Center never happened? because it offends some Muslims in the United States. If our Judeo-Christian heritage is offensive to Muslims, they should pack up and move to Iran, Iraq, or some other country. At the end, it says, please do not delete this message. It will only take a minute to pass this along. We must wake up before it's too late. Now this again was written in 2011. Look at what's happening in our world. Europe is on the brink of collapse. It truly is. England has millions of Muslims that they allowed in legally. Europe has millions that they allowed in legally. Now they have millions more that they didn't allow in legally. The President of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, is planning on going to Paris. He probably won't be going because of the event that took place in Paris with the bombings and the slaughter of innocent people. But you know what this president believes is the most devastating thing that can happen to our country? Climate warming. That shows you how out of touch he is with reality. He believes that climate warming is the most dangerous thing that can happen. Not the terrorists, not the followers of this evil cult, Islam. You know why? Because I believe he is one of them. I do not believe he will go to Paris. I believe this farce of a global warming summit will be delayed. And it should be canceled forever because it's total lunacy. But our country is being run by lunatics. And I'm not just referring to the occupier of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm referring to the members in the Senate and the members in the House of Representatives. Most of them should be in prison for what they've allowed to happen to our country. They knew full well that Barack Hussein Obama was never eligible to hold office. They tried on 8 or 7 separate occasions to change the definition of natural born. They weren't able to do it. And it's clear as a bell that it refers to parents in the plural being American. Nothing else makes any sense, even to an idiot. The founding fathers would never have suggested that only one parent needed to be American. It makes 0 sense. Show me the logic in that. You can't. You know why? Because there isn't one. Obama was never eligible to hold office. I want to thank my viewer and my friend in Houston for sending me this. I want to thank Sebastian Villar Rodriguez for having written this. If you don't pass this message along, shame on you. Shame on you. That's sort of what I think.